One challenge of ice fishing during the middle of the winter is those fish can be a little bit slow. They aren't real aggressive. When they bite, they may not be as aggressive or take the bait as hard as they would during the summer. So you have to make sure that you're really tuned in. And one way to do that is to make sure your line's taut or straight below the hole. If you have any loops or slack in that line or some kinks in the line, that'll give those fish enough slack that they could suck your bait in and you won't even know they're there. So there's a couple things I like to do to make sure I'm fishing right straight below my hole and keeping the line tight. One thing is to use jigs that fish heavy. In other words, even though they're small, they're relatively heavy for their size. Of course, a lot of those baits are made out of lead, which we all know is dense and heavy. Tungsten is another material used for a lot of ice fishing jigs because it's dense and relatively heavy for its size. So that heavy bait, if you will, then keeps my line straight, so I have a good connection with my bait all the time. Another thing you can do is you pull your line out of your rod to start fishing is maybe give that line a little stretch. Take some of the kinks and the loops out of it. Or another little trick that I've found, again, fly fishermen have these leader straighteners. They're just a couple of pads of rubber, but you put your line between those pads and pull your line through those pads, and that also will straighten your line, straighten that leader to make sure that you've got a perfectly straight line that's hanging below your hole, and then you're connected to that bait all times and you know what's going on. If a bluegill swims up and sucks that bait in, you're going to know right away that you got a bite and you can get that fish hooked.